Welcome to the Reticle Up podcast, where I, Three-Gun Kenzie, will be interviewing competitive shooters, hunters, fishermen, archers, entrepreneurs, and outdoorsmen. Come learn with me as I interview people from all walks of life, in different disciplines, all across the world, from novices to professionals of all ages. No matter what, everyone has something they can teach you, so come join me on the journey. Hey everyone, I've got Kimiko Donahue on today. I'm really excited because she's the first single lady that I've talked to that shoots, but she's a professional shooter, entrepreneur, motorcycle enthusiast, and former racer, maybe getting back into it, and she's a mom. How are you?
Good.
Did I get all the titles?
Yeah, I think so.
So much fun. Well, anyway.
I know it didn't last long. What people can't see is I'm secretly typing to Kenzie right now, like, wait, not single anymore. Hold on, let's talk about we'll get there. We'll get there.
I'm excited. I'm so excited. So yeah, let's start off with, I don't know anything about like you growing up because we just met at 2019 nationals.
Yes. Yeah, I think it was it USPSA nationals or IPSEC?
Yeah, I think you're shooting single stack.
One of those.
Maybe.
Then one of those, yeah.
So yeah, where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Tucson. So I was born in California in Fountain Valley, and my parents moved my sister and I out here, gosh, when I was really young, probably 6 years old or so. So grew up in Oro Valley, actually to be exact, in Arizona. Went to elementary through high school here, and just was involved in a bunch of different things growing up. My mom did a good job of making my sister and I try different extracurricular activities, whether it was sports. Heck, I even took a class on how to spin wool, like, with like a spinning wheel, like, stuff like that. Just, my mom did a really good job of making us try new things.
Yeah. Where would she even find that class? Like,
I don't even know. She found the coolest stuff ever. I wish I would have done more cooking classes because I had to learn that in the real world.
Not fun.
Yeah.
Southern great grandma and grandma that, whooped me into shape in the kitchen.
There you go.
That's a Southern thing. Okay, so Arizona is a little bit more gun friendly than California, I would think. But did you grow up like the firearms or no?
No, not at all. And what's funny is I didn't even learn that my parents owned firearms until I got into firearms. Oh yeah, we have shotguns and we've got bows. And I'm like, what? I never knew that. The cool part is, my parents taught me gun safety since I was little. Even with squirt guns and BB guns and stuff like that, we were always taught not to aim it at anyone's face, for one, but even play guns, don't aim them at people. So just teaching my sister and I safety around that from an early age has been huge.
Absolutely. We're trying that with my nephew as well. We give him toys, and then if he's not old enough to not point it at people, then you're not there yet.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay, crazy. So, man, I feel like I'd be bummed to miss out on all the shooting stuff that they had, growing up.
I was, yeah.
I'd be so bummed. So, like, when did you first shoot your first gun? Like, how old were you?
It wasn't until I was an adult, so probably 18, 19 years old, maybe.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't actually own my first gun until, gosh, maybe I was 23 or 24.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was later in life too. I feel like we missed out on those junior years, and I look at all the juniors, so jealous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got to try archery a little bit when I was younger, probably junior high age or so, but yeah, I never shot guns, was never really into that.
That's awesome. So did you teach yourself to shoot? Like, how do you learn that,
So yes, for starts. So I taught myself originally, and went out to the range and just kind of watched people from there, and then later I met people that were good at it and learned from them.
That's awesome. That's the best way to do it is go out to your local range, ask questions, or even watch matches. Like, I learn a lot ROing sometimes.
It's amazing what you can find on YouTube. There's pros and cons of that. Make sure you're watching the right stuff, but it's like in any sport or even in business. You find someone that's really good in their field, and obviously they're doing something right for the most part. So kind of tag onto them or watch what they're doing and duplicate.
Yeah, and I think it's a mix of credentials and experience too. It's not just, they're credentialized. That doesn't mean anything, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's a piece of paper.
Yeah. So when did you, what was your first gun that you bought yourself?
It was a Ruger LCP. It's a little 380. Thing sucks to shoot, but it is a great great gun to carry because it's small, you know, it fits in your hand.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And then when that was California, or was that when you had moved back?
No, I've been in Arizona since I was 6.
Okay.
I bought it here.
That's right. You moved. Okay. Yeah. So did you get your concealed carry permit then over in Arizona?
So no. So that is something about Arizona is it's not your CCW is not required to carry concealed out here. Obviously there's good reasons to get it. So should I get it in the future? I will, just so I know the laws around that. Heaven forbid I need to use it. So I definitely recommend taking a class around that, just mostly so you know the laws more than anything.
Yeah, and I think all the permits, like Tennessee's open or constitutional carry, but when you travel, then there's a reciprocity that you have to have the permit for. So
exactly, yeah.
A lot of people don't know that. They're like, oh, I can carry in my state. I was like, yeah, but when you cross that border.
Exactly, yeah, and that's part of it too. Is just knowing the different laws and what you can and can't do, and set yourself up for success around that.
Absolutely, and you fly with firearms because that's a hard.
Yeah. Well, the best part is when you're traveling for a 3-gun match. So you got this big case, and the one that I used to have looked almost like a guitar case, So I don't know if you've ever, what movie is it? Desperado with Antonio Banderas. He's got, case of guns. I felt like that, like people would, what kind of instrument do you play? And I'm like, hang tight. I need to declare a firearm, please.
There's 2 types of people. There's the ones that sticker their cases where you're like, okay, there's a firearm in there.
Yeah.
The guitar case.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. So heavier question, and I always ask females this and people, why do you carry a gun? Why is it important to you?
So you have an option, I think would never want to be in a situation where you feel helpless and can't stand up for yourself. And, I've studied martial arts, and, I can only do so much. I'm 5'1", little lady, and it just gives you an option. Heaven forbid you're in a terrible situation and need to get out of it and stand up for yourself. It just gives you another tool.
Absolutely. Tool in your arsenal. That's exactly.
Yep.
Perfect. Perfectly said. Do you have, like me, a drawer of holsters that you tried to figure out before finding one that worked?
What's interesting is I never carried with the holster, actually. I don't practice with it, as far as a concealed carry holster. Either I carry it in a purse, concealed carry purse, or, if it's something that I feel very threatened or whatever, need to have it on my person, just tuck it in your belt loop,
There you go.
And awesome. Anyone watching this, it doesn't mean that's the right way to do it. That's just was personal preference. So
yeah. I mean, and then I was going to ask this next question, like the challenging part, and maybe you can relate to this, is like females, you only have so much real estate on your tiny body, but you like to wear pants and and ones without belt loops and dresses. So what do you do then?
Well, then I'm carrying my purse. I think that's the only reason I carry a purse. Otherwise, I usually just, like, I have, I don't know if you can see it on here, but I have like my credit cards on the back of my phone. I like to travel light if possible, but if it's somewhere I feel like I need, more, I carry my purse.
Yeah.
So again, can I get creative carrying it on my person? Absolutely. I just haven't quite figured out what works for me. I know there's a lot of options, and I follow some of the girls on Instagram that, show the belly bands. They've got, thigh holsters, all kinds of stuff. Before I use something like that, I'd want to practice with it. So since I don't practice with it, that's why I don't do it.
Oh yeah. No. You would go to your baseline and nothing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Dang. So how long did it get comfortable though for you to like feel, I don't know, like when I first started carrying, I don't know about you, I was like very anxious and nervous and like thought people were staring at me or like knew, like, did you feel that way?
I did, until I started competition shooting. Just you get so comfortable with the firearm in competition that, carrying it's like, just another day. Yeah. And it's one of those things too. I actually had a conversation with one of the guys at the range who, has a military background and has had to shoot people. And I asked him, how do I know if I'm going to be ready for that? And he said, Kimmy, what do you do when the buzzer goes off? You know exactly how to handle the firearm under pressure. You'll know what to do when the time's, needed. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Absolutely. A lot of people want to negate the practical, like, competition world and how it plays into ours. It really does.
Yeah. It helps. Yeah. With your response time, you know exactly how to use it and how to aim it. And I mean, you know, obviously it's going to come down to thinking quickly and on your feet and what's appropriate. But I think that's another reason why taking, you know, a CCW class or even a tactical course taught by the right people, you know, is going to help you in those kinds of situations.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really neat. So going back to, you didn't know that you had firearms in the house when you were growing up.
Yeah.
Your daughter does, right?
Yes, she does. Yeah. So she's grown up with it since, gosh, forever. So yeah, I think I've owned a gun her whole life, and got into competition shooting since she can remember, probably. So she knows the curiosity of firearms is gone, you know, around her. So she knows exactly what it does, that it's a tool, that it could be loaded, it could not be, you know, and she knows not to touch it without asking. Even loose ammo. I mean, I know you can probably relate to this. You do your laundry and you realize, oh crap, I left stuff in my shorts, you know, and same thing. She knows not to pick that up and, you know, wave it around. She asks before touching it, or, you know, asks, how do you want me to handle that, mom? So because she's grown up with it, I think it's taken that curiosity away, which is huge.
Yeah. How did
you feel comfortable?
Yeah. How did you do that? Like, how did you teach her?
Just showing her, you know, I think rather than, you know, kind of making it taboo, you know, like, oh, this is a gun, you can't touch it. No, check this out, you know, babe, this is what it looks like when it's empty, you know, this is how you check it. This is what it feels like to shoot it, you know, and actually taking her to the range and teaching her, you know, what recoil feels like, what does a sound, with hearing protection, of course, you know, what does it sound like and what to expect, and showing her, you know, what it does to the target, and just helping her understand the mechanics of it, you know, takes away the scariness of it. And I call it a tool, you know, because rather than calling it a weapon, I know that's really common for people to say, but, you know, it's a tool, and in competition, it's not a weapon, you know, we're using it in a sport. So I think that kind of helps that taboo feeling about it.
Yeah. You would do well in my class. So in my concealed carry classes in Florida and Tennessee, like legit, I would have a wall and I would write down the number of times people said the word weapon in my class.
Yeah.
So
even in competition, you know, you hear that a lot too. People, yeah.
Unless, I mean,
what kind of weapon are you carrying? I'm not.
My fist.
Not here. Yeah.
You know, like you said, anything could be a weapon. And so it's so funny, like teaching people, let's use rifle or pistol or shotgun or firearm, or like you said, a tool. It really does help. And kids are curious. That's probably the hardest thing.
Yeah.
Because they want to play.
So I think,
trigger.
Yeah, just teaching her how it works. And I mean, even the components of ammo, you know, teaching her, this is the projectile, this is the powder, and understanding that the, you know, powder itself, you know, catches on fire and is explosive, and how, you know, what primers can do, and her understanding that, you know, she probably wonders, well, mom, why are you wearing eye protection when you're loading? Well, let me tell you why. Have you ever tried to load a large pistol primer into a small pistol, or a small piece of brass? It causes a big explosion, FYI. So anyone that reloads and has done that knows exactly what I'm talking about. It's not fun.
I've learned the hard way too when I work on my AR lower is to wear glasses.
Oh no, yeah.
In my eye, I'm like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. So if for parents listening and all of that, what were some like specific steps that you took? Like you said, going to the range, working at home. Did she watch you reload and all that too?
Oh yeah. I would actually help her, or she would help me either resize the brass or help me deprime things, or I haven't gotten to the point where she actually helps load, just because, you know, I like to keep an eye on how much powder is in there. But she understands the mechanics of everything, including the guns too, like taking it apart and showing her the different parts and what they do. And, you know, she learned with me, you know, so I didn't know a lot of that stuff either.
Yeah. She's gonna know a ton. She's gonna be like the cool kid on the block. And, you know, like
yeah, and you know, she knows too. Like I tell her, you know, it's not really something you go and publicize at school, you know. So she's real careful about how she, you know, talks about that stuff. And you know, same thing, you know, inviting friends over. It's not something you go and show your friends, because they don't have the same training that you do, you know. So that's part of the gun safety as well.
Yeah, and that's across the board. That's not just with kids, you know.
Yeah.
My adult friends are coming over like, hey, I need to know if you know how to use this or look at it. I'm okay
exactly.
play with it, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Exactly.
Okay, so competitive shooting. How'd we get into that?
Oh man, I love telling this story because it's super goofy. I saw it on TV. That's how I got into it. I before I used to race motorcycles, and 2014, I think, had a bad crash, hit my head, and decided I didn't want to do that anymore. So I was just flipping through channels. I think it was, Modern Sportsman or something, and I saw Three Gun Nation and the Big Gun. So I saw women competing in three gun, so I saw girls like Becky Yackley, Lena Michalek, Jessica Hook. I saw all these girls running around with shotguns and rifles. I'm like, that's what I want to do. So literally, I think like a week later, sold my motorcycle. That's what paid for the shotgun. And, just started, put together a Franken rifle. Bought a Glock 34 as my first competition pistol, and started going at it.
Awesome. I think I've had 90% of people say their first pistol was a Glock, including me.
Yeah, well, because it was easy. One, it was affordable, and I heard that they were the easiest to take apart and clean, which I will still attest to. They're very easy to take care of. Taking apart a 1911 is a lot more of a task to do.
Yeah, I have a toolless guide rod on my 2011, and still I like to send that spring. I'm like, dang it.
Yep, exactly.
not so easy.
Yeah.
Was your first competition though three gun?
It was. Yep. It was a lot. Somewhere I'll have to find it so I can post it. I have a video of my very first three gun stage, and it's hilarious because I actually start off really well. It was it started off with rifle, and it was shooting these little clay pigeons, and I got super lucky because I just overheard one of the guys saying, "Oh, when you're shooting close up, you have a little bit of a holdover, your sight over bore." What? I didn't know what that meant at the time, so I just heard someone say, "Aim 6 inches higher" or something, and I'm like, "All right." So buzzer goes off, bang, 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 and you could hear everyone just go, "What the hell?" Because they knew I was brand new to this, And so I'm just crushing the rifle, and then once I get to the shotgun, it was probably like, "Oh, she does not know what she is doing." I mean, mind you, I was safe. I knew what I was doing there, but I didn't know how to load shot shells, as fast as those guys do. And I didn't understand that, if you're shooting a moving clay pigeon, like you'd follow it, I didn't know any of that stuff. So it was definitely a dumpster fire of a stage, but that's what got me into it. I thought it was super cool and kept going. And that's what I shot mostly was three gun, and then finding that I sucked at pistol. I loved shotgun, rifle I loved, but pistol I was very terrible at. So that's why eventually I got into just pistol shooting to get better at it.
Okay, this is crazy to me. Like, okay, most people shoot three gun, like for their first match, probably never want to come back for a while.
Yeah. I'm a glutton for punishment, apparently.
Yeah. Did you sign up by yourself, or did you have a friend go with you?
I brought my friend Katie. At the time, she worked for Voltor, and she went out with me. And I think it was her first three gun match as well. So we went up to Phoenix to Rio Salado and shot out there. And then after that, it was, I felt comfortable going by myself.
I was going to say, that's daunting by yourself, but having a friend.
It is, yeah. And then, so my first three gun match that I ever had to travel for was Babes of Bullets at the Michalek Ranch. And that was super cool. Yeah, luckily, so I knew Deb Ferns. She helped put that on as well. So she kind of helped guide me through it. But I remember that match, and I'm going to be a stereotypical woman right now. I cried at that match because I was so overwhelmed and frustrated, because I'm one of those people that, I want to be good at everything that I do. And, you can't expect to be good at your first big major match, but, it was a lot to take in and learn, how to keep yourself cool mentally. And I think the one that frustrated me, there was a stage that you had to candy cane load your shotgun. So, you had to know what to shoot slugs and then bird shot and, it was a lot. And there were tears.
I've been there. Becky actually got me through that. We shot nationals together 2 years ago, and the shotgun wasn't working. And I love shotguns, my favorite gun. Like, I want to shoot world shotgun shoot for real.
Ooh, yeah, me too.
And so I had a 43 round shotgun stage. I'm like, yes, this is gonna be awesome. Brand new Benelli M2. 3 rounds into it, I can't get the jam to clear. Like it is,
Oh no.
yeah, stuck. And I'm like, doing the pogo stick, trying to use the knife to get it out, and I'm screwed. So I had, what was that, 39 FTEs or whatever.
Bah. Yeah. Oh man.
So I like let them clear the shotgun, then I went across the way and stuck like myself behind barrels and just like cried for a minute. It's good.
Yep. I can relate to that.
Yeah. Oh goodness. And that's a lot of gear to fly with. Actually, do you want to talk on that? Like for people that haven't flown before, maybe some expectations and key.
Yeah, I think, well, first things first, when you go up to check in and declare your firearm, you do it just like that, just a simple, just very almost nonchalant, so you don't seem nervous or anxious, because that's going to make them feel weird. Because there have been people, not in Arizona, because Arizona is pretty good about it, and flying Southwest, they've never given me hassle ever. But in some of the other states, and you go to declare a firearm, as soon as you say the word gun or firearm, they're, oh, you have a gun? No, it's going to be checked in. But I think the biggest piece of advice for that is being very polite to them, being patient, because a lot of the times those people checking you in have never checked someone in with a firearm. I've found that out. A lot of them are very new to that, so they have to ask for help. They're not sure what you need to sign, so having everything ready, your form of ID, your flight number, being ready to fill out the piece of paper that they give you, and kind of helping them through that too, is good to know. Oh gosh, yeah, I think that's the biggest piece of advice, is just be super polite and patient with them, because a lot of them don't know either. So
what about the case and locks and all that jazz?
Oh yes, make sure it is a TSA lock, because they're gonna get in there anyway, so they want to be able to use their little master key and get in there. And you do have to lock your case. It has to be a hard case. I think it has to have, well, I put 2 locks on mine, on my gun case.
Good. Yeah. I would say fill every hole.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, and or bring extra in case you're not sure, but definitely do your research on that, because some of the different airlines are different rules too. Some of them open it up right there in front of everybody in line to see, and some of them, take you to the back and escort you like you're some crazy person. Yeah. Some of them just send it along your way and say, we'll call you if we need you. Otherwise, if we don't talk to you in 10 minutes, just go ahead. And you're like, what? But so it's all different, just having them walk you through what their procedure is.
Oh yeah. I remember when like Christian Saylor got like the pat down and in the private room.
Oh geez. Yeah. It's all different. Everywhere I've gone has been different. I remember there was one time I didn't compete in the World Shoot, but went along as a guest to the World Shoot in France. And what was interesting is, in France and in Arizona, they didn't give us any hassle whatsoever about the firearms. But we had a layover, get ready for it, in California. So we went through customs. Customs thought the guns were super cool. Like, oh yeah, what were you doing? And asked about the guns. And as soon as you pass customs into California, they put us in the same room, like where the dogs are, like where all the kennels are, and asked us to wait there, and wouldn't let us move like anywhere throughout the airport until we had an escort. It was hilarious. Yeah, so we were sitting there with the dogs.
One girl, she dangerous.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah, it just depends on where you're at.
Yeah, and then there's different airlines that will charge you different fees or all that good stuff. So look that up.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, okay, 3-gun was one of them, and then USPSA, I know you've shot. What other shooting disciplines have you gotten into?
So I actually went from 3-gun to IDPA. I didn't even know USPSC was a thing till later. So I got into, and you'd think it'd be the opposite. You think I would have done like 3-gun to USPSA to IDPA? No, I went straight from 2 on paper to you need to have 2 perfect zeros in this circle. And I'm not a rule follower. So I started shooting IDPA and shot in like 3-gun targets. It was consistently like last place. I'm like, what the hell am I doing wrong? Like, I should be good at this. And then realize, oh, you're not following the rules, Kimmy. Like, this is much more of a, I don't like to use the word slow, but you focus on being accurate, and the speed will come. But going from 3-gun, where it's just 2 on paper, to neutralize, to you need to have perfect zeros to win in this game was a huge wake up call, you know?
But that shortens your learning curve for the pistol that you wanted, right?
Yes, it did. Yeah. And plus there's so many more rules. I mean, yeah, we can get in a huge debate about this, but in IDPA, it's a lot different than USPSA or IPSEC or 3-gun, you know, because you also have to wear concealment. So you've got this vest on you, the belt rig's different. You can't drop a loaded magazine on the ground. You know, there's a lot more to it. So knowing the rules helps you play the game a lot better.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm still guilty of it.
I was gonna say, I learned about the inner belt recently. So
Mm-hmm.
there's no inner belt. I was like, oh, good. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even to this day, I shouldn't be saying this out loud because I'm reinforcing it, but I'll get a procedural now and again. I go, oh yeah, that's right. I can't do that in IDPA. You know, it happened this weekend at the New Mexico Scorcher. I shot an IDPA match this weekend and was, you know, flying through it. What I felt was a pretty good performance. Didn't listen to a stage description, and I shot a limited stage unlimited. So like in USPSA, it would be like a standard stage, you know, where you can only shoot 2 shots on paper. If you make a makeup, that's penalty.
Yeah.
So I took 3 makeup shots on a limited stage, and in IDPA, an extra shot or penalty is 3 seconds. So I had 9 seconds added to my time for something that could have been avoided. So lesson learned, that won't happen again.
It's good and bad switching disciplines, you know, because I do that same thing. I'll shoot PCC and then I'll shoot pistol and then I'll go shoot 3-gun and 2-gun. And it's like, oh, I mean, it's great to know all the rules, and I, for the most part, do. But yeah, you're like, wait, it's that kind of scoring. Oh, it's that.
Yeah. Yeah, just different focus. I mean, it's all shooting, you know, shooting is shooting. But yeah, once again, yeah, listen to the stage description, read up on the rules, know where you're at. You'll have a better time.
Well, I want to get into all of that and the differences too. But let's start out with, I guess we'll go into IDPA. So I don't know anything about IDPA really. Can you give like an overview to newbies on what it is?
Yeah. Well, it's they call it defensive pistol. You know, you're going to get an argument on, some people say, it's like the real world shooting, you know, the situations, I wouldn't say necessarily real world. Some of the stage descriptions are hilarious. You know, you're getting attacked by a gang of thugs, you know, and but probably the difference between IDPA and like USPSA is the scoring system is different. They're different targets. You know, USPSA, you've got like a rectangular A zone. IDPA, it's a circle, which they call the 0. So USPSA, you're trying to shoot as many points as possible in time, and IDPA, you're trying to shoot the least amount of points possible in the fastest time. So you're shooting for that 0 zone. Anytime you drop points, that's however many points you've dropped is an extra number of seconds added to your time. So if you drop 3 points, that's 3 seconds added to your overall time. So you want to shoot zeros in that game for sure.
Yeah.
And the difference too is you can only have, well, depending on what division. So I shoot ESP division. So you can only have 10 rounds in your magazine at a time. Depending on if it's a loaded start, you can have a Barney mag, so you can have 11 rounds starting. You know, 10 in the magazine, 1 in the chamber. So really similar to single stack. So, you know, shooting single stack, that was what I was used to no matter what. So as far as planning stages, it wasn't a big deal. With that too, IDPA stages, there's less stage planning, less room for creativity, because they're pretty straightforward on how they want you to shoot it. And they're set up that way so that everyone kind of follows the same plan. And and there's tactical priority is different than USPSA. So USPSA, you can come up to an array of targets and just shoot it, you know, however you want, unless the stage description says otherwise. IDPA, you hear a lot of people say slice the pie. So if there's a fault line, which is new, when I first started shooting IDPA, it was you had to be behind a point of cover, which was very subjective, because let's say there's a wall, right? And you're a tall person, you're probably going to be out of the cover area more than someone like me, because of my height. But now they've created fault lines similar to USPSA. So you stay within the fault line, and let's say you're coming up to a window and you're on this side of the fault line, you want to slice the pie, meaning you're shooting from the outside in.
Okay.
If it's open, you're shooting close to far. And then there's things like surprise targets. There's a lot more rules in IDPA.
I love this knowledge though, because like I need to go out and shoot. There was one this weekend. I took the weekend off finally for Labor Day. But...
Probably the best piece of advice, I mean, even for USPSA, is go take an RO or an SO class and just that's where you're going to learn all the rules, you know. And it's very helpful to know that stuff because it gives you a leg up, and you know, there might be a couple secrets in there that someone else might not know. So
like
an advantage. Yeah.
Not like slicing the pie. That's something the RO would identify then. Like they would be like, oh, that's a penalty because you didn't do that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, and they will give you a penalty if you don't shoot it the right order.
And near to far. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like almost level playing field when it comes to the like stage design stage design will be the same for everybody. Like
because most everybody's shooting it the same way. The only time you might see someone shoot it different ways if there's steel involved or a mover. You know, someone might take a static target in between the mover target. Things like that, you can do that. That's kind of the place where you'll find the advantages.
Gotcha. Okay. Very cool. Okay. And then for the rule sets, I know ESP, there was like backup gun for another one, all of this. Do you know ish like what people should use? Like they can't go using 2011s, right?
No, that if you do that, it's going to be in ESP. So ESP is what I shoot. It's enhanced service pistol. So you can have a mag well on it. Basically, it needs to fit in the IDPA box, which I believe is different measurements than USPSA.
Okay.
I've always shot ESP just because that was the type of gun that always happened to fit in that division. You know, I started with a Glock 34 with a mag well, single stack with a mag well, and now I shoot a polymer 80 full size gun with a mag well. So that just automatically bumps me up to ESP.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And they have CCP, CDP, SSP.
And those are the smaller guns, smaller capacity, right?
Yes. Yeah. So CDP, I believe you can only have 8 in your mag.
Wow.
So a lot of people, you know, they'll shoot like single stack, you know, major rounds in that.
Yeah. Do you feel like that does help you, like if you were going to concealed carry, or is that still?
I think it's whatever fits you, you know, and if you're aiming to conceal it, it's just depending on, you know, what you're wearing and where you carry it. And if you're a smaller person, maybe you have a smaller gun or you hide it in a purse, you know?
Yeah. So what is the bare minimum for like guns and gear that people need to go out and shoot that competition?
Very similar to USPSA. You need your firearm, a holster for said firearm, at least 2 mag pouches. Some people do 3, but you can only have 2 on you at a time. They use the 3rd one for their Barney mag. A belt that goes through your belt loops, and some kind of concealment garment. So it can be a vest. They call them the fishing vests. 511 has a really nice vest that doesn't look like a fishing vest, and that's the one I use. Some people use like Hawaiian shirts. Some people conceal it on their person and then just lift their shirt up and draw that way. As long as it covers your holster and the gun completely while with your hands up, then it's legal.
Okay. So technically 3 mags, but 2 mag pouches with magazines, but 1 would be in the gun.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah, at least 3 mags, 1 gun, your holsters, belts, concealment garment, and of course eyes, ears, and sunscreen.
I'm glad you said that. I'm the mom on the range, like sunscreen, guys. No.
Yeah. Well, yeah, especially in Arizona. I mean, we are sunlight year round all the time.
Yeah, you have to.
Cover up.
So last question on that then. It sounds like there's not really going to be like the long courses that USPSA have because ammo's limited to what you have on, right?
Yes. Yeah, I believe the max for IDPA is 18 rounds for a stage. I could be wrong, so nobody quote me on that, but I think that's what it is.
They're going to come to you after, Kimmy, you said this wrong.
Yeah, I might have, sorry.
No, but I mean, like, yeah, that's the capacity would totally be a limiting factor, but that's nice though, especially when I guess we're going through the COVID times right now. Go shoot IDPA.
Yes. Oh yeah. Some of our local matches, you just need like 80 to 100 rounds and show up. It's amazing. Yeah.
It is awesome. Okay. So let's dive in like to USPSA. So we went from IDPA.
Mm-hmm.
How did we find USPSA?
At my local range. I looked at all the different matches that they have, and I'm like, what's this USPSA? And someone said, oh, if you shoot 3-gun, you'd be good at this because you're running and gunning. I'm like, okay. And unfortunately, I went into that with the same mentality that I did with IDPA of 3-gun. Oh, just shoot at this target, and hope that it lands on it, and didn't quite understand that till later. So I'm throwing, Alpha, Delta, Alpha, Charlie everywhere, and like not understanding why I'm not doing well. I'm thinking, well, I'm going fast, it's not the point. No, still need to be accurate. So it took me some getting used to there. And I started shooting limited minor. So anyone that shoots USPSA knows that's, unless you're shooting perfect alphas really fast all the time, it's hard to be competitive. Not impossible. I have seen it, but
I've seen it. It's not me. So I shoot minor, and I actually just got a limited major gun to borrow for nationals because I was like, I really just want to shoot major power factor scoring, and I have 40 ammo. Ugh.
Yeah, makes a difference. Just if you're not used to shooting major, it's definitely a wake up call. I remember I shot Western States single stack with a major gun once. Never shooting major. Quite the experience.
Yeah, I shot single stack in a crossfire match, and that was the major. I was like, ooh, it's kind of fun.
Yeah, it just takes some getting used to.
Definitely, especially on the reloads. But okay, I know.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That is the hardest thing. Yep. So is that your favorite division though, to shoot a single stack?
Yes and no. So I recently got picked up by Polymer 80. So I started shooting plastic guns again. One of the cool parts about the P80s is the grip angle, and that's actually what sold me on it. Was I was approached by them, and do you want to shoot a plastic gun? And I love single stack, and I always will. I think it's just super fun. It's a nice heavy metal gun, less recoil. But I shot a P80 and went, oh my goodness, this is not like shooting a Glock. Because I don't know if you can see it on Zoom, but when you're shooting a single stack, like your shoulders can be pretty relaxed because of the way the grip angle is, and you just bring it straight up to your eyes. The Glock, I always felt like you had to like really pinch it. If you look at like the difference between a Glock shooter and like a single stack shooter, their body positioning is very different. I feel like when I was shooting a Glock or watching someone shoot one like that, they just look super stressed out, because you're pressing into this damn thing. And with the P80, it allows you to have somewhat of a similar angle to the single stack, which was super attractive to me. And it took some getting used to because now you don't have that thumb safety, so there was definitely times where I'd pick the gun up or draw it, and you'd see my thumb wiggling around in nowhere looking for nothing. But I enjoy it, and I think that was the biggest selling point for me, was just the grip angle was so much different. Yeah.
I'm the opposite, so I still have safetied myself on the 2011, and I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
And I really like looked at the gun on video, and you'll be like, why is this not working? And it takes me like 10 seconds.
Yep. And it's goofy because you practice with it at home and you dry fire with it, and it's still you revert to your muscle memory.
Oh man. Okay, so what all divisions though have you shot? Single stack, and then you've got limited.
Let's see, limited 10, production, single stack. That's it. I haven't played around with red dot or open or anything yet.
Okay, cool.
Would love to. Just haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah. I'm dabbling in PCC now. It's kind of fun.
There you go.
That's the 3N coming out in me because I want to go fast.
Yeah.
So I guess I do want to talk about single stack too, and then we'll go into Polymer 80 because I really want to talk about that gun. But most people don't really try their hand at single stack. We've already mentioned the reloads. Mm-hmm. What do you think is the biggest learning curve and all of the things that go into shooting single stack?
Well, especially someone coming from 3-gun or shooting limited is just learning to plan your stages according to having only 10 rounds in your mag, and just getting a little more creative about where to plan your reloads, really practicing your reloads, because that makes a huge difference. Mm-hmm. Drawing the gun, like your grip, everything's different. It's a completely different platform, so your grip's different. Let's see here. I mean, even your sights are different. I shoot with a really skinny front sight on the single stack, so getting used to that is different. It weighs different. Yeah, so just a lot of things. Just getting used to it, really. I mean, it's shooting a gun is a gun.
Yeah.
So practicing with dry fire and getting some reps in.
God, I remember your quote on that last podcast is nobody likes dry fire.
I mean, it's just like, yeah.
Nobody likes dry fire. Well, that's
anything that you need to be disciplined on, you don't like it, but you got to do it.
Yep, absolutely. And so you never shot major power factor though in single stack, right?
Only once.
Okay, that's right.
And the only reason I chose to shoot major that day was I'd hurt my quad. I think I pulled a muscle or something, so my movement wasn't super great. So I figured I'd make up for that with more points. I should have just stuck to my guns, literally. So
horrible mom joke.
yeah.
Oh man. Okay, and then to wrap that up, what's like the best advice you have for someone who wanted to try out that division?
Practice your reloads. I think just because you're doing so many more of them, than someone shooting open or limited. And then also, when you walk the stage, having your plan figured out and just reinforcing that in your brain, so you can execute your plan perfectly. Other than that, I think it's just getting the reps in more than anything.
Awesome. And then accuracy-ish, I feel like, because 8 or 10 rounds goes back to production.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Especially with 8 rounds. Oh my God.
In my head, I figured that's a given, but no, you're right, because that's sometimes we forget that. Like, you got to make your shots count. Especially if it's an unloaded start and it's a 10-round position. Like, you have to shoot 1 for 1, otherwise you're doing a standing reload.
Yep. Oh man, going to slide lock is never fun.
No. So okay, so that's what's interesting too, is anyone that shot a Glock or a production gun, sometimes you get real lucky, and if you load hard enough, the slide goes forward. Single stacks don't do that. You have to use the slide to release to get your slide to go forward. Yeah, can't be lazy there.
That's huge though. I think for new shooters, I think across the board, so many people do not use the slide release. They play with the back of the gun, they play with the slide. It's like, dude, just get on your grip and use your thumb.
Yep. Load it. Yeah.
That's huge. That's like, that'll take a lot of time off, guys.
Yeah. And that's stuff you can practice at home too, without ammo.
Yes, or fake bullets. Use snap caps.
Yeah.
Okay, polymer 80 gun. Like, did you buy it first? Like, how'd you learn about it? Like, tell me about that gun, because I keep seeing your post about it.
So when I first got into pistol shooting, I shot with a couple of guys on a team, and one of them, his name is Brian Buller, and Brian's also sponsored by PAED, and he called me and said, Kimi, you got to try this gun. I'm great with single stack. I don't want to go back to a Glock. And he said, it's not a Glock. You got to try it. I said, all right, fine. So they sent me 3 to try, and I got to go and shoot them. And I was pleasantly surprised that it didn't shoot like a Glock, and just kind of fell in love with it. And honestly too, it's the people, like, they're a very supportive company. Everyone involved is just super great and helpful. I get to be on it with Brian again, and I think that's what got me into it, was just a referral basis.
Yeah, I like it. And for those guns, like, what's the capacity and what's the price point on those?
I should know this, but it's the one that I shoot. It's is 9mm, and this one does have a custom Glock 34 slide on top. And it's really similar as far as capacity goes, and price point, I would say go to their website, because for all I know it's changed. Sorry guys, I should know this off the top of my head.
I'm trying to market for you, but
yeah, but they're great guns.
So okay, what did you customize to you? You said you put the Glock 34 slide on it. What else did you change?
I had the trigger worked on a little bit, not anything super crazy, but Justin Burke here in Tucson, Arizona, he has Down Zero trigger systems. He helped me out with that, and I would have to get more information on him on what exactly he did. So that's something that I've learned in business, is you do what you're good at, and you delegate or surround yourself with people and leverage their skills. And I I am super blessed to just be surrounded by some just really good people that are good at what they do. Since triggers are amazing. So he helped me out with that. Brian and all the PAED guys are super helpful. You know, if I needed to replace a part, or if I want something different, like let's say I wanted an extended mag release or something, you know, they'll point me in the right direction.
That's awesome. I miss having a good gunsmith near me. I have to ship everything.
Yeah, we've got a few out here, so I'm super lucky. And Phoenix is full of really great ones too. And you know, there's different kinds. You know, there's some guys and girls that specialize in single stacks, or they're Glock people. You know, it just, you got to find who's good at what.
Yeah, going back to the credentials with experience.
Yes, yeah, and testimonials too. You know, it's okay to ask for people's references. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so when you first started, to tell these people that are probably discouraged by or daunted by starting USPSA, what classification did you start out in?
Oh, I started D class for sure. Well, actually unclassified. I started shooting just whatever. You know, I was a U. Wasn't even classified for the longest time. Same thing with IDPA. And I went to go shoot a state match. And they're like, Kimi, you have to get classified. What does that mean? You know, so yeah, I started from the bottom. Absolutely. I was D class limiter, USPSA, and then I started in IDPA, ESP, marksman.
Okay. And then did you level up, and where'd you go?
I did, yes. Well, don't kill me, USPSA, but I think my membership expired, but I was last B class, almost A class. So I'll have to go reclassify and see where that all shakes out. And then in IDPA, I am master class in ESP.
That is awesome. Yeah. Awesome. And so many people are like, oh, I just want to be where you're at. Well, you haven't put in the time, the ammo, the practice. You know what I mean? Like, you're starting out.
Yeah, it took some time. You know, some people just go out and shoot a classifier and do really well, and they classify as that. In IDPA, I received a classification via a match bump. So it means I had to, you know, do well basically in a match to get bumped up a level. So yeah, that's the way I did it in IDPA. And then USPSA, I became a B class, I think, from classifiers.
Awesome. Yeah, that's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the hard part, the dry fire. I gotta know, what did that routine look like every day?
Oh, well, it wasn't every day, if you want the honest answer. Yes. You know, it depends on where I'm at in the year too, and like what my goals are around that. You know, there's it's something that I've, you know, had some push-pull around that of, you know, do I have to shoot more nationals this year, or do I want to just kind of focus on business and screw around and, you know, shoot every now and again? So that is what kind of feeds my, or doesn't feed my dry fire routine. If I am getting ready for a big match and I want to do well, it means picking up the gun every day, even if it is for 10 minutes, but just being super intentional about it, you know, and not just, I saw a meme out there that said, you know, dry fire from their couch, like a light switch. And I'm like, that's been me. I have done that. And I'm not afraid to admit it, but even literally just picking up the gun makes a huge difference, because, you know, as long as you're intentional about it and, you know, you have the perfect grip and, you know, that's what you're going to resort to under pressure, is your muscle memory, you know? So as far as dry fire routine, it just depends. You know, if I'm working towards a big match, then I am picking up the gun. I put on my belt rig. I put on my vest if it's IDPA. I've even put chalk on my hands to, you know, really get that good feel of, you know, when you're drawing the gun, and set up dry fire targets too, and at different distances. You know, put some little steel dry fire targets as well, and make arrays and add movement to your practice.
Yeah, absolutely. You crushed it. Yeah. Awesome.
and practice the stuff you hate, because that's the stuff that you need to work on.
In live fire too, weekend shooting.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You can shoot the funsies on, you know, every now and then, but no, yeah, you gotta work on what you gotta work on.
Yeah.
Oh man, the dry fire stuff too. I was telling people, like, when you train sloppily, that's what you're gonna resort to in the match, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that.
So if you don't even put on the clothes, then you're not really even getting ready for what's gonna look like game day.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, and the other thing, your movement is fast, and that's because you go hard in the gym. So you're crushing everything in life, Kimmy.
Thank you. Thank you.
So how has like all of the workouts that you do improved the shooting and moving?
Well, I think the first things first is just taking care of your body is going to help you in everything. If you feel good, your confidence goes up, so your mental game's now up. Your body feels good, so you're not, hurting when you're at the range. Stretching and doing yoga, guys, is huge too. And that's something that I could absolutely get better at. I do a little bit of it, but it's just so important to maintain your body for longevity rather than just trying to get, big and swole or trying to get fast out of nowhere. Make sure you're doing it. So I have trainers for that so that I'm doing it the right way and so that I can, sustain these things. So I'm a big proponent in getting coaches for everything in my life, business and in shooting, in fitness, etc. I think some of the stuff that is going to help with movement. Obviously, there's movement coaches out there that you can consult with. So don't take my words with a grain of salt. But working on explosive movements, you can do at the gym. But one of the things that are hard to do, from just lifting is working on your fast twitch muscles. So you can set up, agility courses, at the park or at your house or something, and just work on the speed of your feet. Also, one of the things that I worked on recently at the range with Justin, actually, last time we were practicing, was when you're moving to a position, leading with your hips was interesting, because I was watching some of my videos and I'm like, what? You feel fast, but sometimes you watch yourself and you're like, I look slow. Yes. And some of it was just my body wasn't following my feet necessarily, or excuse me, that's what it was doing rather than I was leading, the direction I want to go. So just those little simple things. I think videoing yourself is huge so that you can critique yourself and see, okay, could I have had my gun up sooner? Or could I have been starting my reload sooner? All of those little things adds up, especially over a 20 stage course, or excuse me, a 20 stage match. Yeah, I hope that helps.
That's awesome. Yeah,
kind of a long-winded answer to that.
No, that's what I wanted. Entrances, exits, and like you said, pivoting, or all of that.
Yeah. And if you're not sure where to start, get a coach. There are so many trainers out there, good ones as well. We can definitely post in the comments later, because I don't want to miss anybody, but there are a lot of trainers and coaches out there that help with both shooting and movement, that can help you with that, or even have them critique one of your videos.
Yep. So actually, I know you wear Hunter's Age Shield too. The important thing is you don't want to go to a doctor who's not gun friendly and isn't going to understand that you need to see the site or the target or all of
both. Yeah. That's me.
Yeah. And I remember you sharing that too. And like the same thing with the gym, that was like, you don't want to go to somebody who, I don't shoot. What do you need to know? Like, yeah.
Actually, yeah, exactly.
It's important.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, just the big things. Yeah. The explosive movements to get out of a position and dumping your energy before getting into a position. And the fast twitch stuff is what's going to help with that kind of stuff.
Love it. And then you said like just some basic exercise at home, like you said, feet movement, getting your feet moving. I set up like a little ladder before.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, and then
I am not good at those.
I get confused sometimes. I'm like, wait.
No, I do that. I'm just I always. This is so funny. I had an internet troll one time comment on one of my shooting videos and say, "Man, this girl runs like a duck," and I started laughing because I was like, "Oh my god, I really do." So I just played along with it and just kind of have accepted that, I have this very wide stance when I run too. So I just got the duck walk,
Horrible. They're so mean.
That's all right. I liked it.
Okay, since we're on this fun subject, the important question, the one that people want to know, where did your love of llamas come from?
Oh my god, that's hilarious. So, hold on, got a llama right here actually. It came from my family actually. So I forget how it even started, but my daughter found a shirt that said Mama Llama and just kind of caught on, and some of the people at work started calling me that, and I'm not really called Mama Llama so much anymore, but just people now associate me with llamas, and I love it. Like it's actually, I have paper cranes on the back of my wallpaper here on this Zoom. I make a lot of origami cranes. I feel like that's another part of me that maybe people don't know, but yeah, now people see llamas, and I've got, my desk is full of llama stuff.
It's taken off. Have you met a llama in real life?
No, and I want to. Apparently there's a llama farm somewhere up in northern Arizona. You can like drink coffee and hang out with llamas all day. Right up my alley.
You've got it. I found one near where I live in Tennessee, and then I got to finally pet. His name was Alaska. Actually, don't
you sent it to me. Yeah, I remember.
He didn't ever like rear up to spit, and I was like, I've made it, y'all.
Perfect.
Could have been different time.
Yeah.
Okay, Mama Llama. I'm gonna remember that. I feel like you're so fun. And like the heart glasses that Brian made you from Hunter's HD Gold.
Yeah. So you know where that came from? Is there was a stupid Instagram filter. I was talking to Brian and Luigi, I think, over Instagram one time. We were talking about a match, and one of these filters came up, and I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to have shooting glasses like that? And Brian was like, we can do that. And I'm like, what? So I sent him, some heart frames, and they came back with gold lenses and my name on it. I mean, it was super cool, and it just kind of caught on. It's funny because I have a couple friends at the range that like to borrow them just to, a guy in heart glasses is kind of funny, so I've got those. And then he also did my Oakleys as well with the Hunter's Gold glasses in there, or lenses.
Oh, I gotta find it now. Oh, I'll ask. It's somewhere in here. I have a llama mag pouch, but then I also did like Care Bears and like doggos, and there's.
Oh my god, I love it.
Like you said, when people borrow your glasses, or for me, like when they borrow the gear, I'm like, gotta be fun about it.
Totally, yeah, I love it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And you shot competitions with the hearts on. I mean, they still work.
I have. Oh, they are awesome. Yeah, so those particular frames, they do kind of scoot down on your nose a little bit, but I double plug, so I do, the in the ear and over, so the over kind of helps keep them on my face.
Yeah,
it worked out. Yeah,
that's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, going back to real world, I want to know about IPSEC matches, because I feel like we don't have a lot of those in the country. I've never shot one.
And it's too bad. So I love IPSEC because I feel like it's almost a blend a little bit of IDPA. Well, actually, yeah, even the rules. So you can't take sight pictures in IDPA IPSEC.
Okay.
USPSA, you can kind of dry fire at the targets, but IPSEC IDPA you cannot. So there's that in the similarities there. IPSEC it's cool because there's some short stages that are, maybe 8 to 10 rounds. There's long run and gun stages that are, maybe 30 rounds. And it's definitely, and the targets are different too. So you have to be super accurate with those, because instead of the rectangular USPSA targets, you've got, like, I think they call them turtle shells. Yeah. That's what they look like. Yeah. So it's a much different shaped K zone. It's smaller, so you have to be more accurate.
Yeah,
so it's different.
People that shoot 3-gun, that's the rifle targets.
Yes, thank you. That's exactly right. Yeah, and I love all of it. People ask me which one do you like the most. I like them all equally, just because they're different, and it's all shooting.
Yep, shooting is shooting. Like a bad day is better than a good day at work or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Oh man. So okay, if you had to, wrapping up the shooting, pick one division and one discipline, one gun for the rest of your life, you're stuck with it.
Oh, geez, Louise. I really enjoy shotguns. Funny you said that, because and the reason I enjoy them is because when I first started shooting 3-gun, I hated shotgun because it's this big gun. It kicks you around. It's hard to load. There's a lot to it, especially if you need to candy cane load it. So I just kind of embraced it and said, this is going to be my favorite gun to shoot. And eventually it actually became my favorite gun to shoot, just because you feel like, I don't know, I mean, rifles are cool, but you feel like a badass with a shotgun, especially because, with the extended magazine, it's like just as big as you. And like, I don't know, there's just something to it. So if in a perfect world, I would love to learn to master the shotgun.
It's so cool. If that world shooting, like, it would be cool to have you go at the same time that I get to go. Like, that'd be so cool.
I need to learn to quad load still. So I'm still an old fashioned twin loader, but I'm much faster at that than trying to figure out quad. So that's what I do.
Yeah, there are people that can do that faster than people can quad. So.
Oh yeah, or people that do the, I don't know, I can't even do it, like the one they like hold them and do one at a time, but really
the
fast.
old style. Yes.
Yeah, I've seen that, and there's some people that just rock that, but yeah, whatever you're fastest at is the right way to do it.
Yep, exactly. What works for you, and that's important across the board.
Yes.
Love it. Okay, shifting gears. I want to talk entrepreneurship. First of all, would you call yourself an entrepreneur?
I do now.
Very good. And you
I think, well, it kind of depends. So entrepreneurship, some people, let's say you start a franchise business, like you're a business owner, but you didn't necessarily, you had a playbook and kind of a game plan to plug into. On entrepreneurship, to me, meant like you built it from the ground up. It was your idea, started with nothing. Not that franchise owners didn't start from nothing. So I definitely don't want to put that out there, but
is the difference, and that's
yeah. So before, let's say, so I used to own an insurance agency for a captive company, meaning I can only represent their product. I wouldn't have called myself an entrepreneur at that time because I could kind of plug and play. It wasn't necessarily a franchise, but very similar. You do things to their rules, and yeah, follow that.
So when did you change that? When you went out on your own?
Yes. Yeah. So I opened up my first agency with American Family, actually, when I was 24. And then I opened up my independent brokerage in May of 2018. And I've been doing it since.
Yeah. How many states are you in so far? I keep seeing the number.
We're licensed in 14 states right now.
That's amazing. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would say that for me, I felt like much more of an entrepreneur because I took a big risk and just downsized everything. I got rid of my car, got rid of my house, just literally started from nothing because I knew the expenses that, I knew the sacrifices that it was going to take, and I didn't want a lot of overhead.
Yeah. Yeah. And you did this when you had, I don't know how old your daughter is.
She is 12 now. So yes, she's been around the whole time since I've done both of these businesses.
That's really cool. Wow. That's hard to do when you have a kid to like keep alive.
Yeah. Absolutely. And yeah.
Wow.
It's learning to make it all blend together. We all talk about the work-life balance. There's no such thing. Mm-hmm. It just depends on where you're at in the moment and what makes sense.
Yeah. Did you have examples of entrepreneurs in your life when you were growing up?
Yes. So my dad actually was an entrepreneur. He built and sold optical engineering firms. My dad worked with lasers. Cool. And I got to watch him, put in the long hours and make the sacrifices to, give our family a good life. And I kind of took that and that's what I do now. I didn't think I was going to go that route, honestly.
Because it's hard. You have to have your own health insurance benefits. You have to figure out your hours. There are more sacrifices I feel like you make sometimes rather than having, I always have Saturday and Sunday off because that's my job.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Your hours are all over the place.
Yes. Yeah, you are 24/7, and then just, learning to set boundaries for yourself on when you turn it off and when to turn it on extra,
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, that's a big question. I actually had to put that in an email today about, hey, you might email me over the weekend. I'll look at it. If it's not urgent, it's going to stay unread until I get back in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. And learning that has, yeah, I'm still struggling with that too. And learning, when to turn it off and when to turn it back on, learning to prioritize stuff and what's appropriate in the moment,
Mm-hmm. Do you ever turn your cell phone off?
So I turn my notifications off. Okay. So that's actually one of the tips that I received from someone a long time ago, and I've been doing it ever since, is I turn off my notifications to everything except for phone calls. an emergency, my staff and my friends and family know if you need me, call me. Otherwise, you're not getting responded to until I pick up my phone, and I could go as far as to time block when I do that. I think I've just gotten in a decent enough habit to not just constantly be on my phone, but starting off, I'd say, even, it sounds silly, but time block when to go through your messages, one, so you don't forget, otherwise you become the person with the 100 unread messages.
Gives me anxiety.
So yeah, just making sure you make time for that. But yeah, turning your notifications off is huge, because then you're not constantly looking at your phone dinging, oh, I got an Instagram message, or oh, I got a Facebook message, no, if someone needs you, they'll call you.
Yeah. So same thing when you go shooting. I mean, you spent $5,000 probably go to nationals, maybe more, maybe less, and you're gonna play on your phone the whole time. You got to figure that out.
Yeah, put that in your bag. The only time I take out my phone is to get video or to take notes. So like this weekend, for example, at New Mexico, I royally screwed up the stage, and I took notes on what I did and turned them into something more positive. And actually, here I'll share a few. That's just cool. Because they were so important, and hopefully they help somebody else. So I wrote down, labeled shoot. I always read stage descriptions. Limited means limited rounds. I always shoot zeros. I'm always consistent. I'm always positive. I only focus on my own shooting, and it's like me to shoot zeros fast. So anyone that's read With Winning in Mind by Lanny Basham will know that that's kind of in the same format that he teaches. And it reinforces the positive stuff instead of you beating yourself up on the stuff that you just royally messed up, So that's when I pull out my phone, is to really quickly take those notes, so that going forward, that stage is now done. Don't think about it, learn from it, and then move on.
Yeah, absolutely. Positive affirmations is huge. And
huge in everything.
In everything. Yeah. I was going to say, that's your self-image.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What you speak is what it's going to be. We can go into that in a whole.
Oh yeah. That's a fun one.
So Kimi, what's the best part about working for yourself?
Oh man. A lot of people would say freedom, and I think originally that's what I did it for, but I think now it's for the people. I've always enjoyed being in positions that get to work with people, helping people. But I think the whole reason I opened this brokerage was to create opportunities for people, specifically single parents. Being a single mom myself, I wanted to give opportunities to people that maybe they didn't know were out there. So that's originally why I opened it, and then just being able to help other people with opportunities like that, it's what it's turned into. Connecting people and creating partnerships, and setting people up for success so that they can continue to grow is probably the most favorite thing about this.
Yeah. Now, and then you get the shooting community behind your back, and you're licensed in 14 states, and you already know people in all those states from shooting, right?
It helps a little bit, yeah.
I was shopping for my house still. Gosh, I lost another offer, but beside the point. Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I didn't know it's a thing.
It's a tough market right now for buyers. Great for sellers. Yeah.
Well, it's one of those things I learned from my friend actually that's having a baby. She's like, well, it's kind of like how you don't announce your pregnancy for 3 months until you're like almost closing.
Yeah.
Talk about it. Yeah. I didn't know that.
Keep on keeping on.
Fine.
The right one will happen.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the hardest part about working for yourself, or maybe for you?
I'm going to answer it the same thing, people. One of the themes of the last couple of weeks that me and my business partner have talked about is just everybody's different. You can't just have one formula for the whole entire team. Getting to know everybody's why, what drives them to hit the goals, to hit their goals, why are they doing this? And I think taking the time to slow down and learn that about everybody makes a huge difference. And one of the other themes recently has just been be okay with being vulnerable with your team as well. It helps them trust you and realize that you're a person too, and everyone's kind of getting on the same page around that. So I think to answer your question, is just that's the best part, and the hardest part is dealing with, personalities, and everyone has something going on all the time, and being empathetic to that and flexible, help them work around that. I think that's people. We're in the business of people.
Beautiful. Yeah, well said. The oh my gosh, I was gonna say the culture that you get, like, I see your posts on social media. I love your posts. I'm addicted. It's probably not good.
Awesome.
But I want you to talk about a little bit about the culture that you guys have built too versus the culture
Yes.
at corporate levels,
Yes, that's my favorite thing. So, from my experience from the corporate world as well, and just teaching culture, I had a really great mentor teach me that his exact words was, your work life and your home life are not diametrically opposed. In other words, if something's going on at home, it might bleed into work and vice versa. And as a leader, being understanding to that is huge. And then opening this business, and then I actually brought on a business partner a couple of years ago, last year, beginning of last year, and they have the same culture mentality of, we're all just one giant dysfunctional family. And I mean, and literally family, like we've got father son relationships, we've got husband wife relationship, husband relationships, and the teams, so it really is just one giant family. And having that type of culture is huge because people open up to each other, they work well together, everyone trusts each other. And I think that's what makes this machine keep moving, is the family aspect of it. And regardless of how big it gets, you can maintain that as long as you begin the relationship that way.
Yeah, and the thing about like Double Star and all of that too, and in your company, you get to see the kids grow up in the business. You get to bring them to work. You get to show them what does mom and dad do that works so hard? What does the single mom do that works so hard? Why is she doing all those hours, right? Like, you cannot instill better entrepreneurial skills than bringing them around entrepreneurship.
Absolutely. Yeah, my daughter's grown up in insurance, so if she if she decides she wants to be a part of the business, awesome. If she doesn't, that's okay too, but we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. And then the other part of entrepreneurship, why don't you talk about how rewarding is it when you hit that first sale from a complete stranger?
Oh goodness. Well, on the production side, it's exciting, especially when you like close your biggest deal ever, and it just keeps getting better each year. For me, it's been really cool to watch people on the team have those experiences or those big ahas. They're like, oh my gosh, that they just basically figured out how to get out of their own way and run with it, so that's super exciting to me.
Yeah, self-sabotage can do so many things. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm still learning that myself too.
Boundaries and self-sabotage and self-talk, all of that. Every day.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you're a total adrenaline junkie, would you say?
I think so.
So when did you first hop on a motorcycle? How old were you?
I was 18. So I did not grow up with motorcycles at all. Just like guns. This is all adult stuff. When I was a senior in high school, I did a senior project on how I was going to get a motorcycle and get my license, and just had it all laid out. And apparently I did such a great job at it, thank you mom and dad, that for graduation I got a motorcycle as a present. I had a 2006 Ninja 250. It was blue with flames on it. So that's what got me started.
Your parents, who normally parents would be like, hell no, said, yeah, well, let's just buy her one as well.
Well, I think it's a little bit of a control thing. And I definitely I asked my mom about this because she bought me a 250 when I wanted a bigger bike. I wanted one that was super fast, go get crazy on it. And she got me a 250, which I'm glad she did because it was a great starter bike. I didn't kill myself on it. I think that was her way of saying, okay, you can do it, but you're going to start small. Here you go.
Good job, mom.
Yep. Thanks, mom.
Not my dad. My dad got me a Christmas ornament motorcycle as a joke. It was so.
Oh no!
That dude. I mean, he's had a total bike and he's had a concussion. He's been in the hospital. I mean, it's not a matter of what if you get in a motorcycle accident.
Yeah, comes with the territory, unfortunately.
Yeah, but you can't be afraid to get back on, even though it took time. I mean, it took him years as well, but oh my. So, okay, 250. Did you buy? Did you trade? Did you sell? What happened next?
So I ended up getting a 600, oh gosh, maybe a couple years later. And eventually I sold the 250, but I kind of kept it as a backup bike and then realized I didn't need that. So I did end up getting a Suzuki GSXR 600, rode that for a little while. Learned my lesson on impulse buying because I bought it as an impulse and didn't know much about what to look out for. So I kind of bought one that had some issues, worked through it, got them fixed, and just kind of stuck with the 600 cc motorcycles from then on out. Kind of traded through a few of them and ended up with an R6, and that's what got me into. Excuse me, no, I did start racing with the Gixxer. Okay, so just kidding. I ended up getting the R6 and still racing, but that was my faster, better bike.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Now, how did you, probably just like anything else, you just showed up, right, to learn?
I did actually. And it was one of those things that, you're young and dumb and, don't have fear, and you start going fast on the streets, and, you lose friends to it, and you see what could go wrong. And, the smart decision was to take it to the track. So I did. And I'm glad I did that, because once I started doing track days, actually I had a woman coach, rider's coach, come up to me and say, hey, you're kind of good. You might want to look into racing. And I'm like, what? There's races out here? And that's what got me into it.
Of course.
Yeah.
You sign up for a race and then you just go race? Like, that's
kind of, yeah. They have you go through like a little mini racing school, which is basically just teaching you, the starts and stops and what the different flags mean, and things like that. Not so much about skill, but just more about, the etiquette of racing. So you go through that to get a race license, and you go racing, and then the skill comes.
So if your daughter comes, you say, hey mom, I want to race motorcycles. What's the answer?
Oh God. Well, she's only seen me race once, and now that I'm a mom myself, I understand why. So it's fine, mom. I'm not mad about it. Yeah, I'm sure it's tough to watch, and I'm glad she didn't see me crash. That would have killed her for sure. But she did see me run out of gas once on the one race she came to watch. That was embarrassing.
Ooh. I mean, yeah. And did you know it was coming, or do you just stop?
No.
Or what do you do?
Yeah, well, the worst part was, so I do road racing. So it's a sport bike style motorcycle, and it's in the turns and that kind of stuff. I decided to enter a supermoto race, which is basically, it's a dirt bike with street tires on it. I had never done it before. I didn't know what I was doing. I jumped on a friend's bike and entered a race and ran out of gas. And those things are so tall. It was on a Honda 450, and I had to jump off of it because you can't put your feet down. So I had to bail. It was super embarrassing.
It happens though.
Yeah. And then and I've never ridden dirt up until this year. I went out with my boyfriend before he was my boyfriend, and I don't know if you can see it. Oh, kind of. There's a big old scar on my shoulder.
Oh.
So I fell down in the dirt. I don't know how to ride dirt bikes, but I guess my dumbass thought, oh, I ride motorcycles, I can do this. I jumped on and just fell over like a cow. So
it happens.
Yeah.
You know the Tail of the Dragon's up in Tennessee.
I've heard. Yeah. I want to go so bad.
Sturgis as well, or any of that?
Never. No, I've never done any of that. It's all track riding, really. So I'll have to come check all that out.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. That's
yeah.
Too much Sturgis on my birthday without me. Great. Can you see this pattern? I love you, Dad. He's my favorite. But I got to ride on his bike and learn on that, which was really cool. So when you awesome. Harley Davidson, and I don't know if people know this, they want you to come to the track at their place and go practice your bike there, right? Because it's better than, like you said, out on the streets.
Yeah, exactly.
So
how cool.
Yeah. Is that community similar to 3N or USPSA, or is that totally different?
Yes and no. There's similarities, and one of the fascinating things to me is learning what people do for a living, or what their life is like outside of shooting or outside of motorcycles. And learning about, how do they fund it? How do they, or, if they have a hard time funding it, how do they get around that? So that kind of stuff really fascinates me. But the racing community, at least from my experience, is extremely friendly. And same thing, they're all very, very willing to help you. You know, obviously on the track, everyone's super competitive, but off the track, like, you know, you guys are hanging out in the pits and, you know, grilling chicken together and talking about, oh yeah, you know, I almost elbow bumped you, or, you know, whatever. But it's just super cool. Yeah, I love the racing community for sure.
So awesome. One day I'll do that. One day. It's on my list.
Come on out.
Now, I was gonna buy a bike, then I bought a 2011. So, but
that's okay too. And I'm the one that sold a bike to get a gun. So
yeah. Give and take. Okay, yeah. So what are some other total adrenaline dump activities that you've done that you haven't told us?
Oh, let's see. I mean, I did martial arts quite a bit as a kid.
So cool.
Everything from, you know, taekwondo, karate, capoeira. Let's see what else.
Have you like skydived or bungee jumped?
So no. So I am afraid of heights. I will go really fast this way. I'm scared to go fast that way. Am I totally against it? No. I'm kind of slowly getting talked into it. So we'll see what happens. But but no, I love racing, whether it's cars, motorcycles, guns. I like to go fast.
Sounds like it. So boat soon?
No. So another fun fact is I'm also afraid of water. I drowned twice as a kid. I know how to swim. My mom made sure I learned how to swim, but water on my face is not for me. Maybe I'll get over it one day. Surfing like looks cool as hell. I would love to learn to surf, but definitely still take some
convincing
uncomfortability for sure on my end.
Surfing, I grew up surfing, so I had a whole different life than shooting actually, before I got landlocked in college. But I actually did get a concussion on the surfboard.
Oh geez,
it happens.
That's no good. All right, we'll have to get some tips from you then when I'm ready.
A lot of fun. I still have my boards. I miss it. I do. I'll go back. You know, I say that.
Yeah, neither of us live near a beach, so
maybe wake surf like behind the boat.
Yeah, maybe I'll start with that.
So, okay, people need to go listen to this. I've listened to your Elena Cardone podcast because she's a total badass, and so are you.
She is so cool.
So cool. Like, yeah, so she's been shooting, and I know Joe Farrell's taught her, and Todd's had her on the range. I love that. So I don't want to rehash all of that you talked about, but, and this just changed, but you're one of those females out there, you know, who I can relate to, owns her own business, shoots, knows how to ride a bike. You spend time hiking. I see all that. I don't do as much workouts, but you love a rush. So I guess, I mean, you just told us that, or told me privately that you're not single anymore, but what do you wish, or maybe what did you see in him that like he got or understood about you and your life and your hobbies and why it's important to you?
Well, I think the cool part about it was that he cared to learn about me and my hobbies. And it's interesting because we share a lot of the same interests, you know, so we're both into motorcycles, we're both adrenaline junkies. He's much more into dirt bikes than I am, but I'm much more into shooting than he is. So we have our own things that we do, but it's cool because both of us are open to learning about the different hobbies and stuff. But I think the biggest thing was being accepting of who someone is and leaving room for them to be themselves, you know, I think is the big thing. I like talking about this. This is me being vulnerable here on this Zoom call with you. I think the big thing is, accepting someone for who they are, excuse me. And, you know, things are not going to be perfect, and communication is huge, especially in the beginning when you're still learning about each other. You know, we're both going to say dumb things. We're both going to mess up, and being patient enough and giving enough mercy and grace, you know, that's going to happen. So yeah.
And like, I feel like respecting your lifestyle a little bit on travel and hours that you work. I mean, there's a lot.
Exactly. Well, and what's interesting is, so that's something that we're both working on is the whole, that boundaries thing, you know, and being true to yourself allows you to be true to that person. And I think that's what's really cool about what we've got, is we're both working on ourselves, but we're both patient enough to be able to do that while being with each other. So that's been super cool.
I love it. So you almost want someone to grow with you too. That's the hardest part.
That's what's super cool too. And I think one of the things that me and Elena talked about, which makes it tough for people in relationships, is if somebody does own a business, that can create a lot of time commitments and things like that. Well, the coolest part about that is he happens to be in a very similar industry as me. In fact, we actually kind of work together. Not on the same team, but similar. So yeah, he's all right. Here you go. You guys ready for this? He's my business partner's son. Yeah, no, but it's cool. So we're in similar industries, so we both understand that we get down to business, get that done, and then for us to go do the fun stuff and have adventures.
Yeah, work hard, play hard.
Exactly. Wow. That's absolutely it.
Yeah.
And creating and having the strength to say, here's my me time so that I can work on me. Because if I'm not feeling 100% and I'm not giving you the best that I can be, that doesn't make me feel good, and vice versa. So it's cool that we both agree with that, and allows us to be the best we can be for ourselves and for each other, and that it leads into everything else in your life. So it's been a really cool journey, and it's very new to me. I could talk about this subject forever because it's fun. I'm 33 years old, and I'm still learning, what relationships should look like, or what I like, and it's been quite the experience for sure, in a good way, of course.
Yeah. And then I feel like there's so few people that are, I guess, female driven. You're shooting outdoors. That was my other question, actually. If there's someone listening, this is what you're just talking to me basically, but if there's listening, and you're putting yourself out there, how do you approach the shooting topic of things? Or do you mention that at first? Like, I don't know, like, you've got all this cool stuff, but is that intimidating to somebody?
I'm sure it can be, but I think that's what makes this work is finding a partner that's confident in themselves as well, so they don't project any of that onto you, and vice versa, of course. I bring it up because it's part of me. I'm pretty public on social media, so you can look me up and see my interests and what I do for a living, what I do for fun. So he already knew that, and I think that was part of why we started talking in the first place, was just the different adrenaline rushes that we're all into, and I think that's what sparked it.
So cool. So it's really just waiting on that one that accepts that, I think.
Absolutely. And well, it's all of you, the good and the bad parts, that the stuff, because that's the other thing, that I was trying to get at, is you're constantly growing, and people change too. So leaving room for that, and accepting the person for who they are and what they're becoming.
Yeah,
is huge.
I feel like you're an alpha female, I would say.
A little bit, yeah.
And maybe he listens to this, maybe he's not. He doesn't. Would you describe him as like another alpha male, or?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. He is he likes racing, whether it's motorcycles or cars. He just got into jiu-jitsu and like MMA fighting. So with a background in wrestling, so I would say absolutely, he's definitely an alpha type A salesperson. The more dominant type for sure.
Cool.
So
can work out. There can be two alphas.
There can be, yes. And it again just comes back to communicating, because there might be a day where I want to go do something and he wants to go do something else, and communicating and figuring out, how do you have a win-win? Yeah. There's definitely been times that happens.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome, Kim. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. Life is good. Life is good.
Well, is there any other final thoughts on any subject that we've talked about today that you want to leave listeners with?
I think just because it's been such a big theme for me for the last probably month or so, is being true to yourself, being authentic, and the word vulnerability has been a huge theme, especially the last couple of weeks. This can relate to everything in sports, being vulnerable, allowing yourself to be a beginner. I think it's huge. Even if it's something that you've done for a long time, just going back to the fundamentals and allowing yourself to get better at those things, and not putting an emotional attachment to it, is huge. Not so you don't beat yourself up. When it comes to relationships, like how can you, truly love somebody if you don't show them your true self, So I think that's just been a theme, in the last couple of weeks. I figured I'd share that.
I love it. And how do you balance all of this? Like you said,
I don't. I'm still trying to figure that out. There's really no balance to it. It's just kind of what's appropriate in the moment. There's some days that my daughter needs me and I need to, spend more time with her that day, or, maybe the business needs something that day. So I am all business, it depends on what everything needs at that time, and being flexible enough to adapt to that.
Yep. 100% agree. Like there's no balance. It's really managing what's going on, because you can't prepare for some of it,
No, you can't. Yeah.
Figure it out.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Well, are there any, I know Polymer 80 is a big one, but go ahead and say some more if you want. Any shout outs to sponsors that support you out there?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Polymer 80, just the people there are amazing, and you guys are super supportive. So thank you. Jerry D'Amico with Match Grade Brass. He's always hooked me up with brass, especially before big matches. He will actually personally meet me and bring it to me. So it's super amazing. S&S Bullets are amazing. They're super supportive and easy to get a hold of. Justin Burke with Zero Down Triggers. He does more than just triggers. He helps me out a lot at local matches too, especially with like the ammo situation. Him and Clarence at the range, they both help me out a lot and are there when we need practice. So we're all kind of a little mini team in itself. I know I'm missing a lot. Here we go. Techwear, you guys are awesome, also super supportive. I don't want to miss anybody, and I feel so bad if I do.
Right? Think about your
shirt. That's what I'm thinking of, is my jersey. Who's on my jersey? Myself, I put my own logo on the jersey, but I mean, hey, you got to rep your business, right? Absolutely.
Yeah. And if you make a deal there, that's a business write-off. People don't.
Yeah. But yeah, just, I mean, and I apologize for not being able to give everybody a shout out, but just anyone that's helped me, in the shooting community and the racing community and business. Just, I love all you guys. And I'm super grateful and super blessed to just be surrounded by so many amazing people in my life.
Yeah. Kimi, thank you so much for coming on and sharing.
Yeah, this was fun. Thank you.
So much fun. For social media too, do you want to give out your Instagram handle and all that? People have questions or want to reach out to you?
Yeah, I'm pretty lucky. I don't know anyone else my same name, so you can look up Kimiko Donahue. You can find me on all the socials. I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I believe my Instagram handle is just Kimi Donahue, Kimi. And my business website is everythinginsure.com.
Love it. Yeah. So I'm glad we met. And like, for people listening, the shooting community can make a huge impact. And even when we don't see each other for years, still keep in touch.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Each other's success and everything, which is really cool. So, well, thank you so much for listening, y'all. Reach out to me if you have any questions, and stay tuned for the next episode.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me talk about myself the last 2 hours.
I'm sure
Thank you.
Want to. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks for listening to the Reticle Up podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Follow along on social media at Reticle Up or 3 Gun Kenzie.